This is it. You've reached the final part of the course Music Theory for College Prep. In Part 1, the grading was 100% participation. In Part 2, the grade was 50% participation and 50% accuracy. In this final part, the grade will be 100% based on accuracy, just like in college. After this part, you'll be very prepared for College Music Theory 1. That's not to say it's not going to be work. You will still have to do homework. You just won't be clueless like many music majors. Part 3 is Units 13 through 18. Today starts Unit 13. We will cover triad inversions, dominant seventh inversions, figured bass, and major chord progression. You definitely want to take notes on all of Part 3 presentations. You already know what triads are, but for the sake of your sanity, I kept a little secret about them. I told you in Part 2 that triads look like snowmen. That's not all the ways the case. Sorry for lying. Any arrangement of notes in the original triad is still a triad. The original snowman formation is called root position. If you take the bottom F and reposition it to the higher octave like this, it's called first inversion. This snowman has a floating head. You can remember that this is first inversion because the snowman has one floating body part. If you take the bottom A from first inversion and reposition it to the higher octave like this, it is called second inversion. This snowman has a floating head and a floating body. You can remember that this is second inversion because the snowman has two floating body parts. The point is, the combination of F, A, and C is always the F major triad. This also works for any key. The last detail I need to go over from lessons 51 and 52 is open position versus closed position. Root, first inversion, and second inversion are all considered closed position. In other words, if 2 or 3 notes in the triad is touching, it is considered closed. If none of the notes are touching like this, then it would be open position. This is an explanation about lesson 53 in unit 13. It's the dominant seventh chord in its first, second, and third inversions. The dominant seventh chord can also be inverted like triads. Since the dominant seventh chord is a 4-note chord, it can be written in 4 different positions: root, first inversion, second inversion, and third inversion, which is the 7th at the bottom. To review, This is how you build a dominant seventh chord. Make a major triad. This is the G major triad. An up and major third, and then a minor third, and add at the top a minor seventh. Now let's learn how to make a first inversion dominant fifth chord. We're staying on the key of G. G, B, D, F natural. For first inversion, all we do is move the bottom note, which is the root G, up to a high G, which is right there, and name it first inversion. Now we're going to change the first inversion chord into the second inversion chord. Grab a whole note. It's the same, except now the bottom note is B. Take it up one octave. And that's second inversion. Unlike the triad, which only has 3 notes, the dominant seventh chord has 4 notes, so there's 4 different possibilities for how we rate that chord. Grab another whole note. This is second inversion, and bring it up an octave, and that is the third inversion. Now, I don't want you all to get so used to the key of C major that you don't get any practice in any of the other keys. So let's do the same thing in the key of D, say. Key of D is... Count 5 from the key note to find the dominant. D, E, F, G, A. There it is. C sharp, E, and G natural. That's the root dominant seventh chord in the key of D. Okay. Let's make the first inversion. By bringing this A up an octave. Let's make this second inversion. By bringing the C sharp up one octave. That's what the second inversion of the dominant seventh chord in the key of D major looks like. That's a mouthful. Okay, one more. third inversion. Take the E up an octave. Okay, that is the dominant seventh chord inversion possibilities for the key of D major. 2 on lesson 53 doesn't use key signatures. It uses accidentals. Sometimes you'll have that. So number 1 has E, G, B flat, and C. What you'll do to figure that one out is rearrange the notes into root position and figure it out from there. I only moved one note from root position, so it is first inversion. Here's number 2 and number 2. E, G, A, and C sharp. Okay, let's rearrange this into root position. Counting the notes we move. 1 and A down to A. We moved 2 different notes, so it's second inversion. Let's do one more together. Number 3 and number 2. We have E flat, F, A, and C. Working backwards, let's count how many notes we have to move down an octave. We have to move the C down an octave. Not root position. A, still not root position. That's 2. And that is root position. We've moved 3 notes, so it's third inversion. And that's it for lesson 53. To indicate what inversion of a chord to use, numbers are added to Roman numerals of that chord. This system originated during what was called the Baroque period, which was 1600 to 1750, and is referred to as figured bass. The numbers 6, 3 indicate the intervals of the chord from the bass or lowest note. The middle note in G, right here, is up a third from the bass note E, and the top note C is up a sixth from the bottom note. Over time, the bottom 3 was dropped and shortened to 1/6, but 1/6/3 is still correct. Six, 3, or just 6, is the language for first inversion for figured bass. In the key of C, the second inversion of the 1 chord is written 1/6/4. The middle note C is up a fourth from the bass note G, and the top note E is up a sixth. 6/4 is the language for second inversion for figure bass. Okay, I'm going to do a couple examples on lesson 54 with you so you don't do them wrong and think that that's the right way. Okay. This is an F, and try to make a snowman formation by rearranging this F. If we bring it down to this F, it makes a snowman. We moved one note, so we know it has to be 6/3. Now in the key of C major, F is 4, and that's a perfect interval. So capital 4, 6, 3 in Roman numerals. Another way of understanding this that you can definitely use is count from the bottom note, which is an A, up to the top note, which is an F. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's where this 6 comes from. Where the 3 comes from is count from the A up to the C. 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's do 1/7. Okay, it's easy because it's already in root position, which is shortened to 7. So we just have to put a 7. And in the key of C, G is the dominant. Chords that move or progress from one to another are called a chord progression. Because the 1, 4, and 5 chords, also known as the tonic, subdominant, and dominant chords, contain all the notes of the major scale, they can be used to accompany, which means play along with, most simple melodies. In many chord progressions, a dominant 7th chord is used in a place of the dominant chord. When the subdominant and dominant or dominant 7th chords are used in root position, the progression sounds really bad and choppy, like this. It just doesn't sound good. To make it easier and smoother and overall better, the 4th chord often is moved to the second inversion, and the dominant or dominant 7th chord is often moved to the first inversion, like this. 1, 4, 1, 5, 1. Doesn't that sound so much better?